Hi, everybody. It's May 19th, 2024. I just went to Mass and then I walked down to the Fraser River to my favorite spot where you can see 6 cities, 2 countries, a province, and a state all at the same time. So, this is my update on my attempt to change the law in Canada to Paul's law so that no legal guardian of an incapable adult can ever isolate and confine them against their will or at all from their loved ones. So for people who have been following along, you know that for 588 days, my brother's group home, L'Arche, L'Arche, that's L'Arche, which is a non-governmental organization started by 2 confirmed sex predators, Jean Vanier and a defrocked, excommunicated Catholic priest from France, Thomas Philippe. They started these group homes on the premise that they were creating like a family environment for incapable adults. And what it was really a scheme to have access to the caregivers that they would snookered into working in these group homes. And the governments of many countries just throw money at L'Arche. So on September 12th of 2022, my brother's group home terminated or ordered my 81-year-old nun sister 4,000 kilometers away in North Bay, Ontario, to terminate my brother's visits with me. We had an agreement for twice weekly visits, and he could come to my house on Saturdays. And on one Saturday, he just refused to leave. And that embarrassed them because it made it look like he didn't want to be at L'Arche, which is true. He didn't want to be there. He'd been there for 30 years. He wanted to live with me. Anyways, so I'm trying to change the law so that what I discovered to my horror is that everyone treated this piece of paper my sister got, which where the judge appointed her as my brother's committee. They treated it like it gave her the right to kill him or to do whatever she wanted with him. And they were very rude. It was the Burnaby General Hospital. They were very nasty and cruel. It was like the most nightmarish experience. And so what Paul's law does is it's a sensible thing so that you can be the legal guardian of someone, but you can't isolate and confine them from their other loved ones. And very often people who position themselves to be appointed legal guardians, as my evil nun sister did, is that they use it for retribution against relatives they don't like. And my sister doesn't like me, and I don't like her. She fancies herself kind of an angel of death. Whenever someone is gravely ill in my family, she would fly in. She's never contributed to anyone's well-being. She's never bought anybody a coffee. But if she sees that someone is gravely ill, she flies in, she takes over, and she instructs the healthcare staff to do what she wants. And anyways, so it was so frightening for me when I was trying to visit my brother. So they terminated my visits altogether. L'Arche ordered the nun to terminate my visits, which she did on September 12th of 2022. And Paul and I hung in there, and I did every single thing, every legal maneuver. I reported to every agency, everything I could dream of to reinstate our visits. I went to the BC government office that had Paul's file every single business day, dropping off a letter asking to meet with them to explain the situation. And they never met with me once. Their lawyer, Tina Mason, or Tina Mason, was very. She told me 6 months ago she wasn't going to bother communicating with me, and she never did. Now, why? You can refuse to respond to a complaint about the care of somebody, an adult in care. I don't know, but that's what they did. So, what I wanted to just talk about tonight, or just briefly talk about, is the terror that I felt when I was allowed these 10-minute visits with my brother after he had a stroke, and he wasn't dying. He had a stroke, but he was recovering. When I went into his room and I held his hand, I said, "Paul, it's Kathleen," and he squeezed my hand like a steel vise, just so tight. And then I told you all, the next time I was allowed to visit him, I brought him a big book of movie stars, a big coffee table book, and he grabbed the book right out of my hand and started turning the pages. He sat up and started turning the pages perfectly and scanning the pages to look at the pictures. He was recovering. People don't die from strokes anymore, but he was on a timeline to die. And what I believe happened is my sister she instructed the medical staff. She told them that he was in pain or something, and they sedated him to death. He wanted to recover. I mean, some people that have strokes, maybe they give up the will to live, but Paul didn't give up the will to live. He wanted to recover. He looked me right in the eye. Every chance he's gotten to express an independent wish, it was to get the hell away from her and get the hell away from Lars. Anyways, so I was just listening to what I do all day is while I'm working and walking, I listen to these Dateline episodes. And the most recent one I listened to was a lady whose daughter was murdered. And the guy that murdered her daughter was out running around harming other people. And this was in New Mexico. And she changed the law in New Mexico to Katie's law, which was that if somebody is arrested, so if there's probable cause to arrest somebody for a felony, so that's a serious, that would be an indictable offense in Canada, more than 2 years of prison, they're allowed to take a buccal swab of DNA. And the mother actually changed the law in New Mexico and has traveled all over the United States, changing the law across the United States so that people who are just arrested for felony arrests, where there's probable cause to be arrested for felonies, they have to give up their DNA. And that inspired me. It gave me hope, because I was inspired a long time ago for Paul's law. So what I want to do is change the law so that if somebody, like my evil nun sister, 4,000 kilometers away in North Bay, Ontario, is legally appointed the guardian of an incapable adult, that doesn't mean that they can isolate and confine that person from their other loved ones. This was in Peter Falk's law in the United States. Peter Falk had a stroke in his 70s, and his second wife would not let his adult daughters visit him, which you can imagine how painful. It's so frightening. It's so painful. You know, my sister has never loved anybody in her life, and she's never been loved by anybody in her life. She's never cared for anybody. She's never had a child. She's never been married. She hasn't got a clue of what love is. Not a clue. And I was so frightened, and it was so scary to stand by or to wait outside in the hall. You know, my brother was lying there alone, and she was afraid that he would say something. I've alleged that they created this fraudulent and forged document appointing her as representative. So she was afraid that he would say something about that, and she didn't understand. He's not capable. He was never capable of giving away her secrets. Anyways, so what I'm hoping to do, and please copy and paste the email that I'll put in the description box for this video. And I'm going to start a letter campaign to members of the legislature in British Columbia to change the law, the Patients Property Act, so that the rights of someone who is appointed a committee over an incapable person do not include isolating and confining them from others. It just doesn't. That's how it should work. And there should be an assumption that it's in the best interest of everyone to have as much contact with other family members. That's how family law works. I was a divorce lawyer for 16 years. And the presumption is that it's in the best interest of children to have as much contact with both parents as possible and other family members. So that was an inspiration to listen to this Dateline episode about Katie's Law, about this mother who actually changed the law in New Mexico. And I hope that we can change the law here in Canada. So take a moment and pray for us. I'm struggling with my faith. I mean, my sister's a Catholic nun, and I'm Catholic. I just went to a Catholic mass. So I'm really struggling because I prayed so hard. Well, Paul and I were separated. I just prayed and prayed and prayed that we could be reunited, and it just never happened. So pray for us. Contribute to our GoFundMe account. You just need to click on the link in the description box for this video and copy and paste the email that I'll put in the description box for this video and send it from your email address right away. Paul, I miss you so much. Today was just the most beautiful day. I passed some lilacs and I smelled the lilacs, and I passed some daisies. I know daisies are your favorite flower. We could have had such a wonderful walk today. I miss you so much, but we're going to change the law in Canada so that no one can isolate and confine an adult like you again, dear. Take care, everybody. Have a wonderful holiday tomorrow. Have a wonderful Victoria Day. Queen Victoria's birthday.